Unit 5, Writing Classes, Topic 5.7, Static Variables and Methods. In this lesson, we will look at static methods and then static variables. We'll start with static methods. Previously, you were introduced to static methods that belong to the class and therefore are called on the class itself and not on the instance or objects of that class. Static methods are called using the dot operator along with the class name unless they are defined in the enclosing class. One class that exclusively uses static methods is the math class. You might notice that they are non-void methods that return values. Static methods are associated with the class, not objects of the class. Static methods include the keyword static in the header before the method name. This is important. Static methods cannot access or change the values of instance variables. Because static methods belong to the class, it's important to note that they cannot access instance variables or non-static methods. When we attempt to include instance variables into a static method, the program throws an error indicating that these cannot be referenced from a static context. This is because static methods are not associated with an object, but with the class itself. Static methods can access or change the values of static variables. Static methods do not have a this reference and are unable to use the class's instance variables or call non-static methods. Let's now focus on static variables. Static variables belong to the class, with all objects of a class sharing a single static variable. In other words, all objects that are created share the exact same static variables along with their own instance variables. Static variables can be designated as either public or private and are designated with the static keyword before the variable type. To illustrate the power of static variables, let's use an example from a superhero class. Suppose we want to keep track of the total number of superheroes that are created or instantiated. One way that we could do that would be to create a variable num_superheroes that tracks the number of superheroes that are being created. Every time the constructor is used, we can increase this number by 1 to track the total number of superhero objects. We could try to do this using an instance variable. Here, we've created the num_superheroes variable and set it to 0, and created a getter method that allows us to retrieve this information. When the constructor is called, we will add 1 to the num_superheroes value. The problem with using an instance variable is that the value of num_superheroes will never increase past 1. Here we see that even though we have created 2 superheroes, the value that is printed from getNumSuperheroes is still 1. Why is it that it will always print 1? The reason is that the instance variable num_superheroes is tied directly to the object that was created. Remember that instance variables are specific to the object that is being created. Every time that a new superhero is being created, a new num_superheroes variable is being initialized and referenced. As we can see here, both the Flash and Shazam have their own num_superheroes variable that are being referenced. Changes to one will not affect the other, so the instance variable is an ineffective way to track the number of superheroes that are being created. Static methods, however, exist across all of the objects of a class. If we were to add the keyword static to the getter method in num_superheroes, we will get the result that we intended. When creating static variables, it's good practice to use the class name .variable name notation. If for some reason we had created another num_superheroes variable, this notation helps indicate that the variable that is being called is the superhero static variable num_superheroes and not any other similarly named variable. It's also good to note that static methods can be both private and public, just like instance variables. By using a static variable, we are able to get the intended result. Here we see that the value of getNumSuperheroes is correct after another superhero is created. We use the superhero.getNumSuperheroes notation because it is a static method and needs to be called by the class. We can actually call this using the object names as well. Since every object shares a static variable data, static methods and variables can be used by an object of the class as long as the access is public. As opposed to the instance variables which are exclusive to the reference, static variables are shared across all objects. We can see here that while the Flash and Shazam have their own name and power values, they both share the static variable num_superheroes. Static variables are used with the class name and the dot operator, since they are associated with the class, not objects of a class. This table might help summarize the differences between instance methods that we've been declaring and calling prior to this topic and static methods. Instance methods can access static variables. They can also access their instance variables and can only be called by an object. Static methods can access static variables. They cannot access instance variables. They can be called by a class and an object. Let's look at this example. Consider the partial class declaration for the assignment class. We have the header, public class assignment, two private static variables, next classwork ID and next homework ID, both initialized to 1. These data members will be incremented by 1 each time an assignment by the given type, homework or classwork, is constructed. And we have two private instance variables, a string name and an integer point value. A getGrade method is given an integer score earned on an assignment and returns the percentage as a decimal earned by that score. Would this be implemented as a static or non-static method? You will need to ask yourself, what data will this method need access to? If it will need access to instance variables, it will need to be a non-static method. If it only needs to access the static variables, it could be defined as a static method. Pause to write the method getGrade. Since the method would need to use the point value of the specific assignment, this would need to be implemented as a non-static method because a static method, again, cannot access instance variables. One way you could write this method is public double getGrade, passing a parameter integer score, and it's going to return a score divided by point value. This method will need to return a double. In order to do so, remember to cast one of the two integers as a double. Look at this other question using the same class called assignment. Would a method that reports the total number of assignments be static or non-static? Remember to ask yourself if you need access to instance variables or just to static variables. Since the method would only need access to static variables, this could be implemented as a static method. One way we could write this method is public static int getNumber of assignments with no parameters, and it will return the next classwork ID plus the next homework ID minus 2. Remember that they're already initialized to 1 each, and so we need to take that into consideration when trying to get the total number of assignments. Look at this other question using the same class called assignment. Which of the following statements is true? Note, because code segment 1 is inside the constructor, it does have access to both static and non-static variables. Here's another question using the same class assignment. Let's look at what happens when we instantiate assignment objects in another class. Let's check out what's happening in memory. When the assignment class is loaded, these two static variables are initialized to 1. When an assignment object, HW1, is instantiated, this object will point to an assignment object, and this object has individual data name, which points to the string homework1, and point value, which is 10. Notice how the static variable next homework ID is now 2. Now look what happens when I instantiate another assignment object called HW2. It points to an assignment object, where its variable name points to the string object homework2 and has a point value of 5. Now, next homework ID has the value of 3. Notice that even though we have two homework assignment objects, there's only one next homework ID and one next classwork ID. Now we're instantiating a third assignment object, but now it's a classwork. CW1 points to an assignment object that has a name that points to the string value classwork1 and a point value that stores the value 20. Now, next classwork ID has incremented and stores the value 2. We now have 3 assignment objects that have their own name and their own point values, but the next classwork ID and next homework ID only exist once in memory. Let's practice an FRQ-style question. Let's write the constructor for the assignment class, which will be passed a string value representing the type of assignment, classwork or homework, and an integer value representing the point value of the assignment. The name of the assignment should be in the form type and space using the appropriate next ID field for the type of assignment. The constructor must also update the appropriate next ID field. Remember to note, the static variables need to be updated inside the constructor. The instance variables need to be initialized also inside the constructor. One way you could write this constructor is public assignment, same name as a class, with the two parameters, string type and an integer value. We'll initialize point value with the value parameter. We'll now set up an if statement. If name.equals the string classwork, then the name will be initialized with the type plus a space plus next classwork ID. We will then increment next classwork ID by 1. Else, we're going to have the name initialized to type plus space plus next homework ID. We'll increment the next homework ID by 1. Let's look at an MCQ example. Which of the following statements is true?